It's like I'm walking on sunshine.
Ba-da. Right.
Wiki.
Red alert.
Welcome to DoomCast number 33. Thank you, Charlie McGrath. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, my 33-degree friend, on the 33 DoomCast. 33.
We've made it to this hallmark, or this milestone, if you will. Pretty excited about that.
This Illuminati milestone. I thought about skipping it just like they do the 13th floor in some hotels. I thought about skipping 33 and going right to 34 because of the negative pyramid eyeball connotation.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But then I thought, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to embrace the horror of it all.
The horror
of it all.
Well, you know.
Oh, it's good to be back with my buddy Doug. It's good to be back Doomcasting another week. I want to thank the 2,000 people that downloaded Doomcast number 32. Our numbers are consistently, steadily growing, Doug Owen, on the downloads on the YouTube side. The visits to the DoomCast.com website are steadily on the increase, and you would have to speak to the downloads on Spreaker because I don't track that.
They're really good. Really good. I mean, we're in the thousands, I guess. When you look at numbers, it's kind of hard to tell. You know, I always look at feedback, and I've seen a lot of it this week that's pretty great. A lot of commentary. A lot of people appreciated the questionnaire that the questions that you had for your interview. And hey, today we found out that Jay Carney, the White House press hole, is actually scripting.
Press hole, I love it.
That's what he is. He's just a regurgitator.
Yeah.
All of the questions, none of them are impromptu. They are all pre-selected. This lady, I mean, not that most of the Doomers out there don't already know this, but we were talking last week about you going on the Truth Seeker show.
Yep.
How did that go? Did you go?
Yeah, I did. It was about a half-hour interview, and So was
it the actual guy, or was it somebody else?
No, it was a producer. I don't know if I'm saying his title right. Really great guy, Russian dude, who interviewed me, and basically, this is kind of the way I thought some of these news programs or news magazine programs worked. There's a lot of people involved, and the producer basically just filled in for him, and then asked me the questions that this dude will ask, to the camera, pretending he's interviewing me live. But he won't be. It'll just be, he'll know. All my answers were pre-recorded. So, it was good. It was, I've done a lot of RT stuff, and it was definitely the longest. I mean, it was almost a half hour, and it was fun. It was a good time. Cool.
So when does that come out? When can we?
That
see the
comes
finish?
out. Yeah, that'll be. I'll have it up on YouTube here Sunday. It comes out Sunday morning, I think. So we'll have it up. We can talk about it next Doomercast. But I have another one tonight, and. You know what?
That's why we had to press ahead. That's why we were moving.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's a little different than it used to be. I mean, it's a little different in the fact that RT, by virtue of the Liz Wall stink, that
I want to talk about it. There's more to it now. A lot more.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But because of her bailing and the establishment American Western media that grabbed onto that. RT is, obviously it helped them with their U.S. audience and more people know who they are, but it changed a little bit from my perspective, only because I see people that are going on there, like myself, let's say, not that we weren't somewhat of a target before, at least, from establishment point of view. Yeah. But now this whole dialogue of anti-Russia and anti-RT, anything to do with the former Soviet
Putinism.
State.
It's the new era. Putinism. Are you a Putinist?
I guess so.
Are you down with the Putinanny?
Down with the Putinanny. I'm putting on the Putin.
Oh no! Oh no! You're going to get sanctioned, my friend.
I probably will.
The Doomcast is going to be sanctioned. We're going to be named in a round of sanctions of people that are taking money from Vlad and Natasha.
Well, I wish Vlad and Natasha would cough up some change so me and you could do this full time for a living.
We need some rubles. Hook it up, guys. Hook it up.
Yeah, a little of that natural gas money flowing through the Ukraine would be nice for the Doomcast. However, we're not, obviously.
I will read the news. I won't be a hypocrite. I know that you got the Russian angle, and I'm not a Liz Wall. I'm not somebody that looks at CNN and turns a blind eye to people like Amber Lyon and other whistleblowers that have blown the lid off the media, or Jay Carney press hole. So
press hole. Sorry, I'm on a T-shirt. Press hole.
RT's doing some things right. They've got that really hot chick on their macroeconomic news thing going on. So
yeah,
I got to give them credit where credit's due, obviously. Yeah, it's interesting because this whole Liz Wall thing seems to be a lot more than just what's apparent. I don't know if you saw her. She's on The View. And she was on The View, and she's
crazy. I'm sorry, Doug. I don't mean to cut you off, but I literally, my computer flashed all kinds of weird stuff, and then a message that you dropped, and I thought we were going to have to restart the DoomCast, and then you just popped back on here. So maybe Jake, the press hole, didn't like what you were saying about him and cut us off there, but I'm back now.
Yeah, well, welcome back to the show.
Feels good to be back. It feels like it was just minutes ago that I was here.
Yeah. It seems like it's been no time. Well,
anyway, so what's going on with the? Go ahead, chase us down the RT story. What's the new developments with Liz Wall and her big shocker career change?
Okay, well, we know that she went on RT, and the original story was this is impromptu, that this was a personal decision. She decided to do this. Well, Twitter busted. You know who, of course, one of the more vocal neocons, Bill Kristol, is, right?
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Okay, so he's got this new think tank. He used to be part of PNAC, the Project for a New American Century. Those are the guys that wanted New Pearl Harbor, and voila, we had 9/11. How convenient. And they made a lot of money, and they have used the U.S. military-industrial complex to wage unmeasurable wars in places like Iraq. So we could talk about them all day long. But interestingly enough, they kind of busted themselves because they were hashtagging word on the street says something big might happen on RT in about 20 to 25 minutes. So they're tweeting from this FTI think tank. And this is, of course, Bill Kristol's think tank. It's right. The Foreign Policy Initiative, FPI, and they've got a Twitter account. I'm watching it now. I'm not following, but I'm watching it. And Max Blumenthal and a couple other journalists, one of them from kind of been in the, I guess, left-leaning sphere, like Truth Dig, those kind of folks on that side have been watching the neocons, and so you can get some perspective on them. And they busted Liz Wall. She actually told people, including Bill Kristol, that she was going to do this. Everybody was excited about it. It was completely scripted, and it wasn't one of these, impromptu things as she said it was. And now she's on the media. She's going on the tour and making it sound as if she was repressed and held back by RT.
Yeah, that's bull crap. And that's the thing. And I really, I did that one video, and you and I have talked about. I've held my tongue about her talent level, and I don't know how much longer I can do it, man. I'm about to bust on this whole thing because you know what, Liz Wall, she's lucky she got on at RT. I'm going to leave it there. Look.
Vladimir Putin kills journalists, okay? That is a proven fact. We all heard about the polonium-210, so watch your back, Liz Wall. I don't care how
connected you are with Bill
connected to
Kristol.
Sean Hannity you are. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Better watch your back. No, that's not nice. But, these neocons, these are the exact same people that are operating in Ukraine earlier in the week, of course.
Amen.
You wanted to talk about Ukraine. And I mean, there's new developments by the day.
Yeah, I do, but I want to hover for a second here on RT because there's something that happened to me in the last week that I just debated how deep to share it with the DoomCast audience.
This is inside baseball. You have to do it. Complete honesty.
Yeah. Well, it isn't RT as much as it is. And
the wacky name keeps all of the people most of them from listening more than 10 minutes in. So you're safe now.
I'm safe. Yeah, we're 11:52 into this beast, and I know only the true doomers are with it this far. Most people turned off after Towley did his Walking on Sunshine bit. Hey, by the way, 2,000 downloads, not one. You know what? this is gonna.
The thumb down crew didn't come by this time.
Not one thumb down crew. So listen, doomers of Doomcast 33. This is the Illuminati. Number. This is the Freemason number 33. So I want to mix things up a little bit.
Ooh, I've got some stuff too. But
yeah, but wait. Let me.
I want to know where direction you're going in there, Charlie
Well,
McGrath.
this is just on. This is going to be for the folks who download it from YouTube. Look, for this DoomCast, you're 12 minutes into it, so you're a listener, you're a follower of this this podcast. For this one only, thumbs down equals thumbs up. So if you were going to give us a thumbs up, if you're one of the 40 or so people that were going to give us a thumbs up, and the 2,000 listening, I down as possible, and vice versa. If you hated the program, please give it a thumbs up. That this week only, just give it a thumbs up. Next week you can go back to hating with the thumbs down. But and if you're a lover of the program, thumbs it down this week. So we'll report back next week on the status of that. So that's kind of.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about that. I think thumbs down might actually be better, because if I saw something that had, let's say, 100 thumbs down,
yeah,
I would be like, wow, I'm intrigued. I want to watch this now. Because if it's so bad, everybody gives it a thumbs down, then
that's horrible. Yeah,
it must be something shocking.
Yeah, I'm the other way. I'm probably a little bit sheeple that way. I'll look for if it's got a bunch of thumbs down, especially if it's like a gun review or something along those lines. Then I'll typically skip over it, because I'm thinking, it's probably just a waste of time. But I think for this week we need to do the thumbs down, no doubt about it. I don't know if I want to make that a permanent function. But this week, thumbs down equals thumbs up. If you hate this program, give it a thumbs up this week, and then return to your hating next week. But the thing I debated on talking about was a letter I received from somebody who, if I mentioned his name, you would know it. And so I'm not going to do that. Yeah,
I would know it, or the listeners would know it.
You would know it. The listeners would know it. You've heard him. He's in the Rolodex of independent media, right, as we've talked about before, and so he gets around, he makes the circuit, and he's a one-trick pony. He has one topic he talks about over and over again ad nauseum, and the problem is, and I've interviewed him in the past, the problem is he's got to be the smartest guy in the room, regardless if he is or not. Maybe it's true even that he is the smartest guy in the room, but he's got to be the center focus of attention, and it just oozes out of him, especially if you interview him. I get a letter sent to me vis-a-vis a mutual friend, and it is a page long of how I have been. And if he's listening right now, and so I gave away, there you go, the gender. If he's listening right now to DoomCast, although I don't think he would waste his time to spend an hour with somebody of substandard intelligence, unlike himself. But he sends a letter to me vis-a-vis another friend. I get this letter, and I'm reading through it, and it's all about Liz Wall. It's all about RT. It's all about how I've been duped. It's all about how they've been exposed, and by virtue of the fact that I have a tight relationship with them, I've been exposed. And I'm reading this drivel, and I get to the end of it, and it all comes crystal clear. It all becomes very, very crystal clear. The last sentence of it is, now, if RT were to interview me, fill in his name, on the topic of, fill in his one-trick pony topic he always talks about, then
the pet peeve conspiracy theory.
Right, and then maybe that would lend to RT's credibility. And that was the end of his letter. And I lost it. I am really hard to get upset, right? At least generally speaking, I do the videos and I seem upset in there, but I'm not pissed when I do those. But when I read this, I'm like, you arrogant such and so, you're going to spend the hour it took to write 1,000 word email to me describing how I have been exposed and RT's been exposed and it's damaging my credibility. And the only way that they could truly get back in your good graces is if they interviewed you. So basically, it's him encouraging me to get him an interview on RT. I fired him back an email that was not complimentary in the slightest little bit. But it goes. Doug, are you still with me, buddy?
Yeah. No, I'm just listening. I'm trying to figure out who it is. That's who I'm over here. I'm half listening and half trying to guess, and I don't want to throw out names here.
I'll type it here right now because I'm not going to say it because he'll end up getting a bunch of hate mail. It was sent to me in confidence, or I guess. Him assuming that I wasn't going to share with everybody. That's the only reason I'm not giving his name. But there, I just sent it to you. Do you see that?
Oh, let me see.
His big thing is the blah.
You know what? I don't know this guy at all. Sorry.
Really? Well, I'll just give his name out. No, I'm just kidding. I won't. Anyway, the point is this. The point is this, that this dude who has been around a while, and he, like I said, he's been on my program, he's been on Rents before, and he talks about this one topic, and his goal allegedly is to wake people up to this atrocity that's happening before our eyes, and to try to free the nation, right? But in reality, there's so many people just like him who are in this movement, so they can hear themselves talk, and that's it. He doesn't care about anything other than him looking smart in front of a microphone or in front of a camera. That is it. So, when he sent me that thing on RT, it really irked me. And now I feel better. I feel like a little therapy happened right there, and I've shared that.
Well, so, yeah, I mean, that's what me and the Doomers are all about, working through problems. And, yeah, I think that's usually this ego thing that people have. One of the things that people note a lot is, why do you let Charlie McGrath be sassy with you? I'm like, because it's funny, and it's the point of the show, and this is entertainment, and that's part of the deal. You don't get upset about little things, and if I took it personally, and I really thought that I'm the airhead that some people may think that I might be, then I would get really.
Am I making you feel like an airhead? I hope not. You're smarter than I am. Let me tell you right now in the Doomer audience.
No.
No. I'm going to say this, Doug. I'm going to say this. This is truthful. I mean, the crap that you know about, the crap that I can ask you about, and you automatically can recite a bunch of statistics on and facts about, blows my mind sometimes. And sometimes I think you just bring up stuff because I will have no clue what you're talking about. And this isn't necessarily on.
No, I would never lead you like
that. No. I'm just saying you're a really smart guy. I hope you don't come. I hope nobody thinks that my teasing you is anything other than me having a good time with my buddy Doug Owen.
Yeah, but people do. Then you see how sensitive some people actually are to everything. And I appreciate it. I like the fact that you care, but at the same time, I mean, it's kind of, I think, indicative of a society that's really quick to be offended. Immediately you want something that's,
and I think it's hilarious when you give me crap, and equally as hilarious when I gave you crap.
We're talking about the media. I do want to move forward here. I want to talk about Kevin Trudeau. Are you familiar with Kevin Trudeau?
The name's familiar, but no, not really. Okay,
he was the guy that had the best-selling and quote-unquote highly dubious book, Natural Cures That They Don't Want You to Know About.
Yes, yeah. Infomercial guy.
Yeah, right? Yeah. This guy made a fortune. And back in 2008, during the crash, he was selling these Illuminati books. He would basically give you the insider's goal and teach you what the Illuminati knows.
Doesn't he have a get free government money book out now or something? I thought I saw him.
Well, this is what happened. Okay, the federal government came after him, and he was told a federal court told him that he could not do any more deceptive infomercials because he had this diet plan. Basically, it's like walking and eating less than 500 calories a day, which is a really easy way to lose weight, and I think it's kind of a surefire way to, cut some pounds. And that's basically what he was selling. Not to say that you're not just taking money from people. Anyway, he was sentenced to 10 years for his deceptive practices. And I see the hypocrisy in this. And, you have companies like Pfizer, real pharmaceutical companies that have killed and maimed thousands, millions of people that have never gone to jail. And this guy, you can't find one person. You might find some people and there's a lot of people that feel that they're conned. I'm not saying he's not a con man, but he hasn't killed people. His cures for cancer haven't, maybe, have led people away from maybe doing chemotherapy. I don't know. But that's not what the state actually came at him with. So doing 10 years for daring to tell people something contrary to what the federal government wanted them to hear. So he had this book. He made a lot of money. I don't know how much of it he stashed, but he came on the scene in the quote-unquote Patriot movement. You were talking about some of those people, and that's why I was thinking, okay, perfect segue to Kevin Trudeau. Same thing with the really tall guy. What's his name?
Richard.
No.
Yeah, the big teeth. The dude with
big teeth, big guy.
Yeah, the motivational dude. Robbins.
Yeah. Something. Tim Robbins? No, that's an actor.
That's the actor.
Something Robbins.
Yeah, come on, I'll look it up.
It's probably driving people crazy.
I'm reading the Trudeau story right now. That That's crazy. I mean, 10 years, people murder people and get less than 10 years. And I see he wasn't, I mean, it wasn't necessarily, Tony Robbins is who it is.
Tony.
He wasn't sentenced for a current misleading advertisement. It looks like he was sentenced because there was a 2004 ruling that said he couldn't make any more of these misleading type of deals. And I don't know what he did between 2004 and now, but he was charged with contempt, felony contempt, and convicted on it. So he's getting 10 freaking years, and 51 years old. He's going to be 61 years old. Well, he'll probably be out 5 years. So that's absolute insanity. For what? For going on and pitching vitamins or pitching an exercise or
how many people get killed by blood pressure medicines?
Oh my God!
How many people are maimed by ED drugs?
Yeah, and well, how many?
Nobody goes to jail.
Are you maimed by ED drugs?
Yeah, man.
I
Some of those
need to
people
know
can
about
only
this.
see blue. They can only see blue. That's one of the side effects of Viagra, and I'm sure the other ones. Yeah, I mean, if you just look at the long list of side effects. And that's one thing that's pretty funny is that people that have no problem getting a boner, or maybe people are just that bad.
Hello.
People that they just take it for the stamina. I'm one of those people. I think you should use that sparingly. But that's how they got all those Taliban commanders to basically rat on people with Viagra.
Wait a minute. Can I stop this for just a minute here? No, wait a minute.
Sure.
I need to rewind just a little bit here.
Yeah.
What did you just say? Wouldn't
you want to save that for later? You wouldn't want to use all of those drugs now because they're not going to have the same kind of effect later on.
I got you. I thought you meant you are one of them that take it for a certain reason.
No. That seems silly to me. If you don't need it, why would you take it?
I don't know.
But people do.
Suppose if you wanted a power erection for hours and hours.
If you're really trying to impress somebody, maybe you're going to go.
Yeah. Weekend in Vegas. I don't know, whatever the case is, but it's like any drug. I'm sure it could be abused to that point. But
it's powerful. I was going to say that these Taliban commanders in Afghanistan, that they were trying to get them to work with them and allow them to bring supplies in. They're working with the local drug lords. Money. They're like, I don't need money. I live out here in the middle of nowhere. Gold's nice, but I don't really need it. We've got women and donkeys and guns. But the one thing that they all wanted was the Viagra, because when you have like 5 wives, it's a lot of pressure, my friend. A lot of pressure.
It would be a lot of pressure.
You gotta have a thick mustache. That's why those guys over there are getting mustache implants and they're getting hooked on Pfizer's Viagra. It's amazing.
Welcome to democracy, my friend.
Welcome to democracy.
Your 5 wives and goats will be happy, and you'll be popping blue pills like Pez.
Well, I hope not to be, but you never know. You never know. Polygamy, it's there. Yeah. It's possible.
Well, I was going to say it back to the Trudeau fella that's getting 10 years for basically being a slickster salesman. When I read cases like that or hear about him, it automatically, unfortunately, because of what I talk about all the time, it automatically takes me back to the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that have been sucked out of your pocket and my pocket and the rest of the people in this country's pocket, our future, and how those criminals that had decimated a generation, decimated potentially generations in this country, and not one of them is sitting in jail right now, but Trudeau can go on and talk about, a wacky diet plan or supplements that'll keep you alive forever, and he's going to get 10 years in prison.
Yeah, it leads a lot of people to think, well, what was he saying? How powerful is this? Does the government not want you to know this? And it's probably going to make him a cult hero. He'll probably sell more and more books once he gets out. It was so dangerous what I was telling you. The federal government had to put me behind bars. He's going to make more and more money off of it. It's kind of funny,
Well, if he's smart, he'll just get out of this country when he gets out. If he's smart, he would have got out of this country 6 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, who else is really, really off the radar, but really hot right now in the new media, alt media world? Shane Smith.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
Yeah, he's from Vice. He's the head of it. And I saw this article from Disinformation, and it's actually pretty good. It breaks down this BBC News article, and it says, is Shane Smith the next Rupert Murdoch? Does Vice have... Oh, did you see this article?
I saw the headline. I did not read the article.
Okay, so Shane Smith is 44 years old. He's really taken to the Gonzo-style journalism, and he did really well with all of these Vice guides to travel in the 1990s. He's a world traveler, and he's been to North Korea. If you're familiar with Vice, and most people are now, it's a big media organization, and I didn't really realize how big it was. I knew that Viacom had bought it, and I knew that he was working with News Corp. Not working with News Corp, but that Roger Ailes himself is investing in Shane Smith, saying that this is the next guy. This is the big deal. So News Corp gave Shane Smith $70 million, buying a 5% stake in Vice.com. So he's also working with HBO. Bill Maher, the Maher Hour, or whatever his show's called, has a huge stake in it, and it's just amazing. So, okay, so what do you think? I mean, for a guy that you would consider alt media, how much money would you think Shane Smith had? I mean, I figured that he had a lot of money. I mean,
it's kind of not fair because I did read that part where how much he's got, but
$440 million.
$500 million. That
He's got
worth.
$500 million.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, this is just some guy that seems like he's drunk. He goes on the Joe Rogan podcast. He has, he's in a T-shirt. He's got, just this really blue collar demeanor to him. And you're like, wow, I'm blown away. And I know a lot of these people that rate movie stars and try to tell you how much money they have really don't have any idea. So I don't know if $440 million is accurate. It might be something more like 380, but just amazing to think. And people think that this is, new alt journalism. And you're like, well, if that's alt journalism, I don't know what mainstream media pays, but my goodness, he's getting, this is maybe better than Glenn Beck money, Sean Hannity money. This is definitely better than some Fox News host. Or it's a media.
So do you
empire.
think he's being led into this relief valve as the front for independent media? I mean, because that's always go ahead. That's always my thought when I hear people like Glenn Beck. Suddenly, Glenn Beck. He was pretty much what we are doing right now. That's what he did before he got on with CNN and then jumped over to Fox and became this massive celebrity, especially inside the quote Tea Party, the abducted Tea Party at that point in time. But he was the front man for this whole. You could throw our whole genre into it. He was the one. And it turned out to be exactly what a lot of people predicted, which is he was going to get a lot of people excited, a lot of people motivated, and then he was going to be cut loose. And that's exactly what happened with him. But he was a relief valve for a couple of years for this segment of the population.
Oh yeah, he's talked about the FEMA camps. Yeah. Glenn Beck teased FEMA camps, and then he came back to kind of mitigate. Yeah. Well, Shane Smith. I mean, if you look at this is what is considered new media. The new media that is hip, and it's for the hipster culture. It speaks to those that the younger generation out there that just doesn't buy what the old guy with the hairpiece on NBC is saying anymore, and is going to the internet for compelling real stories. That there's real things that are happening, and Vice does a great job. I mean, I give them all the accolades in the world, but you do see selective focus and coverage in, if you've watched his HBO series, a lot of focus on guns, very anti-gun. So you see Bill Maher's passion and liberalism moving into it. You also see a lot of, I think, softballing for the Obama administration. And that's because you probably have a lot of those people that are kind of the younger demographic that responds to that. So this is new media, but it's really the same old people. It's just Roger Ailes. This is Fox News light. But it also shows you that these media barons just don't care as long as they're making lots of money. They don't have a political allegiance, because you would think that Roger Ailes and Fox News Corporation would want more right-leaning media, but Vice, I don't think really does. But I think that the stuff that they're doing, and I think that with North Korea, the State Department had to be working with them, and it was this high-profile case, and they used basketball players. I mean, is that all is unscripted and just by chance? I mean, I'd like to think that, but it's almost, Pollyannish. It's almost being naive to think that the State Department wasn't aware of what was happening. And Dennis.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Had a breakdown because he was over there. He was under so much stress, drunk, screaming at Wolf Blitzer. I don't know if you remember that. But so anyway, I just was kind of blown away. We were talking about the Liz Wall thing and how the neocons had compromised that, and how that was an impromptu, and Kevin Trudeau. And then I saw this, and I'm like, all right, well, let's just talk more about the media. That's why we do this, because it's not corporate media. We don't have corporate sponsors that we have to curtail our content to, or to, not, touch taboo topics because we're worried about funding being cut for the show. And so, unfortunately, we're not going to probably make $400 million doing the right thing. But I do think that, what they're doing, the stuff that they put out there is, it's pretty interesting. I mean, some of the documentaries that they have. But I don't know if you saw the stuff with Ukraine, but it was very pro-U.S., very anti-Putinist. It was, and it seemed very scripted. They had this whole series on what's really happening, and they had this one part where the guy's calling up to the commander and the chief and the Ukrainian boat, and they're like, "Oh, we're being caught. We're being watched right now," and it just seemed almost silly scripted. So, I don't really put a lot of faith into what they're doing now. But, it used to be great. But that's like most things. Once they reach their apex, then somebody comes in and like, let us buy you out. I've got millions of dollars. And then you're like, oh, man, we can do a lot of good with these millions of dollars. And then they've got you. And then you buy a huge house and you're stuck paying it. See, did we lose Charlie McGrath? He's being quiet over here, which is not normal. I thought so. I was like, I haven't heard
Hi, Doomer.
McGrath. Yeah.
Hi, Doomer. Sorry about that. I rebooted. I rebooted and I put it up on Ethernet now, so I hope that doesn't happen again. Maybe I should pay my bill, my internet bill, because are you still recording?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be a fun little few minutes there.
No, I was actually how many minutes were you going?
No, only a couple. You were
minutes.
Yeah,
Wow.
You were talking about Dennis Rodman and Wolf Blitzer, and I tried to chime in, and boom, I was gone.
Oh, that's not. We didn't miss too much there.
Okay, good. But I'm exaggerating. It felt like a long time because I missed you so much, my friend Doug Owen.
Well, so there you go. That's the media stuff that I wanted to throw out there here, since we're
and the Liz Wall deal. The whole Liz Wall deal. I know I'm flashing back to the beginning, but if we can't figure out by now that she was that, come on, man, that was 100% engineered and designed, and I don't know if
she's a spy. She was put in there. She's been watching them probably for the last 2 years. She worked at RT for 2 years, so she either stopped and waited, but. Regardless, she had a lot of contacts.
I think she got a call from somebody who said, "Hey, you do this, and we'll get you on at such and such network." And don't be surprised if you see her pop up, working for Hannity or working for some other neocon, some neocon media. That I'm more than sure that's going to eventually be the case with her, and that's the ambition behind doing what she did. The question was, and then I've got is. How come they didn't pull that? How can they let that run if it was all legitimate? And in fairness, I think RT thought it was a news story, and they thought they were going to get some traction out of it, and I think they did.
Yeah.
What do you think? Your thought?
Oh, I think that could have been it. I mean, they could have sent her in. She already had ties to a bunch of these neoconservative creeps like Hannity before she went there. Yeah. And so she was already connected. And one of the things, when you look at Bill Kristol, I mean, he's a Trotskyite, and he's a Straussian, so they are very concerned with the power of Russia. That's
kind of smart you are.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah, I know a little bit about something here or there.
Yeah. I didn't even know what you just said. Something about a Straussian. I don't know what that is.
Trotskyite. You know who Trotsky was, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, his father came up with this idea of neoconservatism, and it's basically this idea, to kind of wrap it up, is that you need you need something for people to always be a goal, a national goal, whether it's the space race, a war, the Cold War, World War I, World War II. You always have to have constant purpose. And you go back to the LBJ days where you had this kind of lull, where you had free love and nobody wanted war, and you had the Watts riots, and you had the U.S. military engaging the public. And what he accounted most of those problems to was that we didn't have a national identity. And so one of the things about PNAC and that whole group and wanting a new Pearl Harbor, it goes back to this ideology, this political philosophy, really, that you have to have some kind of external enemy. You have to have something to move people forward. So their big focus has always been Russia and breaking down this power, because Russia, of course, enables the Saudi Arabian, or excuse me, the Middle Eastern countries, the Iranians. They are a polar power that rivals U.S. Israeli hegemony. Yeah. And so I think that they are smart enough to put somebody in at RT. Let's get somebody in at RT that can do reconnaissance for us. We want to know what they're getting, because really RT has a tap directly to Russian media. I mean, that is their U.S. news agency. This is what Vladimir Putin wants you to know. When he goes to RT to do a speech, he's not talking to the Russian people. When he's talking to the Russian people, that's when he's the bear. That's when he takes off his shirt and shows them how manly they are, because the Russians eat that crap up. He knows that's not going to work, and he's not an idiot. So he puts his shirt on, he puts on a $5,000 suit, and he talks to the American people through RT. But so it's kind of a conduit. You would imagine most of those people, or at least some of them, have to. I mean, it's Kremlin funded. They have to be analysts or people working on behalf of the government there. Because this is their government talking points. So if I was Bill Kristol, if I was a neoconservative, if I was CIA, I'd want somebody in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially now, you got to segment it, because there's RT International, and that's where the studios are in Moscow. I mean, they have studios everywhere, but they're primarily broadcast out of Moscow, and that is to the Russian people and the rest of the world. And then there's RT America, which is what Liz Wall worked for, which is all Americans. Their boss is Russian, but certainly that is as you describe it. But it doesn't matter. RT International, RT America, they're funded by the exact same, the Kremlin, the exact same, and that's not a secret.
No. I mean, that's It's out front. It's called Russia Today. Okay, it's not called America Today.
But the difference is this, Doug. There is Good Morning America, right? We have that here, and the difference between, and this is my take, the Russia Today. I can go on Wikipedia and find out it's funded by the Russian government, by the Kremlin. Mm-hmm. But I have to actually do some research, and I have to be somewhat aware and awake to realize that the corporate media in my country is also run and dictated to I shouldn't say the government line, but the corporate line, which is the government line, and that's why we have a media that is so pro-war, even if they don't claim to be. They certainly broadcast in that spectrum that they are pro-war, pro-imperialism, pro-America destabilizing the world. That is the function of our media at this point. And if it wasn't for the fact that these media outlets were directly, in some cases, and indirectly in all cases, funded by taxpayers, they wouldn't be able to produce this message, because they don't produce a product that's legitimate or genuine, and they certainly don't produce a product, as polls show, that most people want to, in America, trust or believe in. That's why over 50% no longer believe and trust in the news reported by the establishment media. So
that's disingenuous. Why you have to have RT. You have to, not RT, but you have to have new media. You have to have the Glenn-Becks out
and
there.
I posed that question to you. We pondered that a little bit when I was I asked you and the audience at the time. The questions that I had for that upcoming segment on Truth Seekers. And, one of the questions that they sent ahead of time was, should it be illegal? Should it be, or is it illegal, and should it be changed? And, your point was you don't want the government saying what's legal and not legal. for the press to do, and I agree with that. But I certainly do think there is a place for busting up these massive conglomerates, because they don't serve anybody's interest except the self-serving media and profiteering from that, and their influence is so great that they end up sucking money out of the American people's pocket through bailouts or through advertising from companies that have been bailed out, all these banks that advertise.
Oh, I'm all for antitrust. I mean, I don't think that we should have one cable company. I don't think that we should have one media group. And if you look at what we have Ryan Seacrest everywhere, Rush Limbaugh, a few other shows that are nationally syndicated. And since Bill Clinton, and this is under Clinton for all of you out there, all of you liberals, he actually deregulated the FCC, and we saw the Clear Channel effect.
What is with you with the liberal thing?
Because somebody said that I'm a crazy neocon or some kind of hardcore conservative, and I couldn't be anything farther from that. I'm one of the people. I mean, I don't believe that we should waste money. I mean, I just saw a headline. I was gonna post it while we were talking. U.S. spends $1 trillion a year on defense and security. I mean, it's amazing. And if you think that's okay, then you're not a liberal or a Democrat or a Republican. You're just a war hawk. You're crazy. Hey, I don't know if you saw this. We're talking about media. Head of Ukraine TV beaten by members of parliament. These are the Svoboda, or however you say, this nationalistic group that the Svoboda party. They're the right-wing Nazi types. Basically, they go in and they're
our guys.
Yeah, these are our guys. Get a listen to this. This is Euro News. You'll appreciate this. This is the kind of media that you have when you have government-run media.
The head of Ukraine's state TV company has been attacked and forced to resign by at least 3 MPs from the far-right Svoboda party.
These are the parliamentarians that ran through all the legislation that Victoria Nuland and her PNAC husband ended up writing for these guys that are thugs that are beating people on TV. I mean, this is surreal.
They barged their way into the offices of Alexandra Pantelemonov, accusing him of serving Putin and being Moscow trash.
Putin.
You're Moscow trash. Hey!
They were angry that the company had broadcast the Russian parliament signing a treaty with Crimea.
Oh, you don't do that.
Ironically, the man with the ponytail is the deputy head of Ukraine's Committee on Freedom of Speech.
Okay, so this is the best part, okay? This is the irony in all of this, Charlie McGrath. This is your huge payday. This asshole is in charge of free speech. He's the head of the Committee of Freedom of Speech. He's punching this guy. He's got a ponytail. He's punching this guy in the face and making him sign his resignation letter on live TV because he dared show the Crimeans celebrating their jubilee, their separation from the Ukraine. So where we're at today, the Ukrainians have said, look, we're not going to invade. We're just going to, take our pipelines and go home. And hopefully we'll go bow down to the World Trade Organization, the EU, and maybe...
The Ukraine is saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. And because there's no political will. Now, was the vote somewhat rigged? Aren't they all? I mean, I have to be honest, they're all rigged. You didn't have an option to stay with the Ukraine. You either went with Russia now or you went with Russia later, which I think is pretty suspect. But I like the fact that they have already moved forward with the U.S. model. That is what they did in Libya. Let's start a central bank. We've already got a new currency. We've got new money. We're printing it right now. And Zbigniew Brzezinski, a lot of these big thinkers are really upset about the fact that nobody saw this coming. I mean, they've already designed these currencies, so this is Vladimir Putin's plan all along. This is what he was planning on doing long before he saw what was happening in the Ukraine. That's why they flew Yanukovych out there, because Yanukovych is not an ally of Putin. Actually, he was working with his rival, Yulia, whatever her name is, something Tukashenko. But
he's still
Prince.
Princess. Right. But he still nixed the Western plan, which was to get the IMF involved, become a member of NATO, and get encroach that much closer onto Russian borders. He was what started this whole thing.
What sparked allegedly these riots, these pro-EU people that were so. I mean, but here's the deal. I mean, you're shopping your labor and your debt to whoever's going to give you the best deal. I mean, what was the EU going to give them? And
the EU was going to give them billions of dollars through the IMF, and they were going to enslave the Ukraine, and they were going to steal their natural resources, and they're going to do just to the Ukraine the exact same thing they did to Greece and they did to Cyprus, and they're going to continue to do throughout Europe. And they desperately, the European Union, the bankers, desperately wanted the rich resources of Ukraine, and especially the transportation routes. Namely, I mean, if you look at how much natural gas flows through the Ukraine, Russian natural gas, it is virtually a nation that is a pipeline from Russia into Europe. And the EU wanted this to help stave off their own collapse financially. So they're pushing really hard. We spent, you and I, billions and billions of dollars in order to get them over to the west or to the light side of the force, and now we have Russia trying to pull them
Chevron,
back.
They've already signed a deal. They're doing the same thing that they tried to do in Libya. They're like, oh yeah, the Qataris already have a contract with all of this oil. They already own it, and that's theirs. You're like, well, that's convenient, and it makes a lot of sense. But these are all things that had to be negotiated. So these aren't responsive measures by any stretch, and not by Putin either. And that's why I think it's really interesting. But it's also going to shift us into an era of less globalization, more independence. I think that you're going to see a huge.
Bill Kristol's probably loving this because this is Bill Kristol loved the Cold War. Mm-hmm. These neocons love this to have this arch enemy out there, and
the thing is so funny. It's because you see the comparison. If you juxtapose Iraq, and there's a great piece I have up on Blacklisted News, and it's like comparing what happened in Iraq and how the media completely staged all of these rallies where the people were excited. Okay, all of that we now know is fake. It's just as fake as most of the stories that led us into the war. And the Sandra, what was her name? Was it Sandra Levy? No, I'm getting confused. The girl that
was murdered?
No. Who was that girl that was
Code Pink?
No, they thought that she was a hero. They portrayed her as this hero that protected her crew, and they had all these stories about her. I mean, Pat Tillman, the fragging story.
Lie.
But she was the one beforehand, which was the sweetheart story. She was the hero, and she'd saved all of her other platoon men, but then they came out to find out that it was all a media fabrication. Same thing happened with Iraq. I'm sorry. I was trying to make a parallel there. And
it's a big wagging the dog type of thing. Yeah, I got
big wagging the dog. I mean, the whole thing was scripted, faked. I mean, the tearing down of the statues. And you look at what's happening in Ukraine, that's really what most of those ethnic Russian people want and have wanted for a long time. And they sure as hell don't want to have to deal with, the competing in the EU. And
right. I got an email from a listener of DoomCast, and they might be listening right now even. But it was setting us straight because we kind of had said those about the same thing you just said early on in this, that the people in Crimea with their Russian heritage and they're Russian speaking and they wanted out. They wanted to join back up with Russia. Well, this email was from somebody who has family members living there and disputed that very vehemently that we were wrong, that they don't want anything to do with Russia, and that they were brutalized under him before and are going to be brutalized again. And I really tried to make this person the first guest on DoomCast, Doug, because I thought, because it doesn't sound. I mean, from what I have found in research now, a lot of that, just like you, we have to do through establishment media sources. But it certainly seems that on the surface that most of these people in Crimea don't want to be involved in the Ukraine. They want to be part of Russia. But this person was saying...
Look at the choice. I mean, okay, you had a bunch of fake leaders for a while, and you had this guy that was president over and over again and basically shopping the slaves in debt to the Russians and to the EU, basically using them as a wedge and the pipelines that run through the land as a political tool to try to better himself. So, I mean, these people have been used as political leverage, so I don't think that a lot of them were really – I mean, they're proud of their heritage. I'm sure many of them are proud of their country and probably, harken back to the hard days and the very brutal history between Russia. But – I think that with anything, I mean, you poll people around here, 60-75% of the people here don't like the domestic policies or the foreign policy, economic policy of the U.S. government. I mean, we only have in this country, a 10% approval rating, and I think that those are fake numbers. Even when you say, well, Congress has an 11% approval rating, I mean it's off the charts. And well, speaking of which, I mean, people are so upset about what's happening in Crimea. If everybody was, this is the deal. If they were really, really that upset about it, wouldn't you have seen at least one or two people hacking a few of these Russians up? I mean, are they? And the Russians have pretty much let Western media roam around freely. I mean, they're just, well, look over here. I mean, I've seen so much coverage from the BBC. They're digging trenches to blockade Ukrainians. They're doing this. I'm like, well, we're getting a pretty good viewpoint of what's happening in Ukraine. And when you have the Russian media and the U.S. media saying, yes, there's tens of thousands of people that are happy, well, you know, why would you have two people that have, or two groups that have completely different goals, and they're both reporting pretty much the same thing?
Right.
I'm sure that person probably looks at, you know, an individual situation, or maybe even a town or village, or one that's kind of tied to other. Most of the time, people are, you know, it's about money and who's paying the bills. I mean, if you look at Crimea, their whole industry and economy is built around, you know, Russian and Ukrainian military bases. I mean, so, I mean, you have people that are already...
And let's face it, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because this talk of Russia invading, first of all, I mean, it wasn't an invasion, right? They just rolled in to their military bases they already had established there. But, I mean, you have to think of it in the perspective of the United States, you know, as we cast stones living in our glass house, right? I mean, there's absolutely nothing that would keep us from rolling in to protect bases in Saudi Arabia or in, you know, other parts of the world, the 150 plus countries that we have military personnel.
Look at our embassies. Perfect example.
Yeah, that is a perfect example. So, you know, this painting with a broad brush as this dominating force of Russians rolling in and you know, taking over, just some kind of Cold War event going on. It isn't. I mean, come on, that isn't the case. They rolled in. They're at their military bases. They have 20,000 troops there.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You have a lot of really nice parliamentarians that if they don't like what you're saying on the TV, they're just going to come and beat your face in. I mean, literally. So. Yeah, I'm not like one of these guys that's like a Putin-nani. I'm not into the Putin-nani. I'm not a huge fan, because I know that he's like, you know, former KGB billionaire. I mean, but I give him more respect because I think he's really smart. When you look at Obama, you're like, You got in trouble for. I want to jump here a little bit, because I did that segment video and the mom jeans thing. You took some. That's right. You took some criticism for being a neocon because of that. That's where that came from. I mean, he does wear them, and it says something about you. It's a demeanor. I can tell a lot by somebody. How they dress.
Never come to my house on Sunday, because on Sundays, man, I don't get out. I'm in sweatpants and a baggy sweatshirt all day long.
Because he's more manly than those mom jeans. I mean, he doesn't have to wear them up to his nipples.
I don't want to talk about Obama's nipples anymore. I do, though, want to, you know, some of the folks that commented, Doug Owen, you commented all over the last DoomCast.
I tried to, yeah.
You're a good man like that. But Craig Simpson sent, and Craig is a great guy. I know he's listening to this podcast. He comments on all of them, and you know, he's the kind of listener that we want, that is constantly there and participates in the comment section. He writes, and I don't even remember this. You're going to have to refresh my memory, Doug. I would be fine with Tom Hartman if he wasn't anti-Second Amendment. Then addressed to me, Charlie, what do you get from listening to him? I used to listen to him some, but he seems to have reduced to a left cheerleader. Am I off? ? And I'm going to say this in defense, I guess, of myself, and in recognizing Craig's comment. It has probably been a good year and a half, 2 years since I really listened to him. But the times that I have listened to him, it has been on the topic of corporate banking and that kind of thing. And him and I are lockstep on there. I've never heard him speak to the Second Amendment, pro or con. But certainly, if he's anti-Second Amendment, I wouldn't be. I certainly wouldn't support that whatsoever. But the things that I have heard him talk about in the world of finance and the world of banking, I've agreed with him on, and I'll just leave it at that. If he's a raging liberal or a cheerleader for the left, so be it. He picked a side and he's going to run with that. And to me,
Craig, you're right. He is a cheerleader for the left. Charlie just doesn't listen to him enough.
Well, even if I did, though, everybody's got to, I try to listen, even if they're a raging Rush Limbaugh right neocon or raging lefty. I still try to listen and see what they're trying to sell, and usually it's unfortunate, Doug, but we live in a country where most people, even most people listening to this, consider themselves either in that right or left paradigm somewhat, and probably not. I'm gonna take our audience out of that, because if they're listening to this, then probably
they're all over the place. Yeah,
they're independent thinkers. How about that? And,
wait, beyond that, yeah.
But most people are, hold on, my boy is knocking on the studio door here.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on in, Doomer son. What's up? Huh?
It's like the house is on fire, Dad, and you're in here talking to your computer.
Yeah, he's like, we're being invaded, Dad.
Yeah.
I think he was looking for a skateboard, but I have no idea where it's at. It's nice that it's nice enough to skate in Montana right now, though.
Nice. Yeah.
Tim Baker,
he was trying that Obamacare there. You never know when he's going to break his elbow. You got to be careful of those skateboarders.
If somebody's going to break a bone in his body, it is my kid. He plays hard, and when he falls hard. We've had multiple broken digits.
Ooh.
Yeah, but you got that coming there, Doomer Daddy Doug.
Oh man, I know about it. Yeah, that's going to be exciting. Hopefully, he picks some pretty, safe sports, if there is such a thing. Baseball's good.
You're a huge football fan, though. Your kid's going to be a football player.
Man, I want to take him to games and the whole bit. Go down there and see the Department of Homeland Security tank and what the police state looks like, and let him get touched up there at the football field.
Oh God!
Exciting stuff.
I bought a new gun.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. You want to hear about it?
I do.
It's actually for my son. He's taking hunter safety this year and
very
next
responsible.
Year. What's that?
That's very responsible. Tom Hartman would be very happy to hear that.
It's not a registered gun.
Oh, well, no, then he's out.
You know what? I'm gonna have to listen to Tom again now, because if I value your opinion. I value
Tom Hartman gun rant. He's. That's just, there's these. I was talking about this with a guy on a podcast just the other day that I recorded that we haven't produced yet. I haven't put out, but we were talking about how you have these really like crunchy, hippie, organic people that are building aquaponic systems, and they're all into aquaculture and gardening. And then you have these like very hardcore right-wing survivalist prepper people, and they're building aquaponic systems, and they're all into gardening. And you're like, well, these people are doing the exact same thing. They're doing the exact same thing. They like about 90% of the same stuff, and when it comes to it, they could probably talk about 90% of things and agree. But people let their politics, and I think it's this idea that we have to differentiate, we have to ID people, we have to be with some kind of.
Doug, that's been my message on the Krabby Dogs Tricks channel, the Wide Awake News website, the Wide Awake News Radio, the DoomCast. Everything that I've done in the last 5 years is that message exactly, which is. It doesn't matter if you're a granola tree hugger hippie that lives in the woods and you have no desire to do anything except stay off the grid, or it doesn't matter if you're a businessman and you're doing everything you can to sell widgets in order to make a living. We have so much more in common than we have apart. The difference is we subscribe to these ideologies that demand that we hate one another, and we take our time and divide it up judging the other half of the nation. So we're not paying attention to the real criminals at the top of the pile, the people that are in Washington, D.C., these long-term dictators that live there that could care less about their ideology. Do you really think there's a difference between John McCain over here on this neocon war hawk on the right and Nancy Pelosi on the left? Because if you do, you're nuts. There's no difference whatsoever. When the cameras are off, the doors are closed, they are serving the same master, and it isn't the people of this country. So yeah, we have. it doesn't matter if I'm talking to Karen Tostado living in Portland, Oregon. She would be considered, she's the host on the program. I've known her for years now, and I absolutely love her. But, 10 years ago, I would have never spoke to her because I'm supposed to be a red state businessman, neocon, and she's a granola left-wing hippie. Well, the fact is, once we got to know each other, we realized that we're lockstep on just about every single thing. The things that we are not the same on, we can agree to disagree on because we're rational human beings, and that's what we're not supposed to be: is rational, thinking individuals that can take care of ourselves. We're not supposed to be that. We're supposed to look at our blue team leaders or our red team leaders and bow down to their will, and then fight with each other.
Yeah.
My new gun.
I want to hear more about it. Yes.
All right. Well, this is it, guys. If any Doomers are listening to this far into it, I don't know how far we are now. I'm 28 minutes into this, but
Wait, put that down, Charlie McGrath.
Yeah.
Don't go all over the place with it.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't fire it off in here like that. It's probably not the safest thing.
No.
It's a Remington Model 783. Now,
Classic.
the 780, well, it isn't a classic. It's kind of a new. It's only a couple of years old.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, they just the 700 BDL has been around forever. It's a staple of Remington, but this one's more of an economy rifle that they came out, synthetic stock, and some features that are really, really smart for accuracy. Yet it kept the cost down on. So it was under $400. It's a .308 caliber, like I said, Remington 783. I haven't fired it yet, but I've done a lot of research on this thing, and I'm excited to get it tuned in to about 1,000 yards. So it is our elk/sniper rifle.
Very, very nice. Yeah. If you're going to take down an elk or whatever, that sounds like the one to go with.
I've got several elk.
Old super grade pump. It's a Remington super grade. It's a classic.
Pump rifle?
No, it's a shotgun. Pump shotgun.
Oh, okay. I'm on rifles right now, Doug Owen.
I know. No, I was thinking about Remington.
My caliber that I always used to hunt with back in the day when I was hunting. I haven't hunted for several years, but now my kid's getting to that age, so I'll take him out again, or take him out and let him experience that. Are you a hunter?
Oh, I can't really consider myself to be a hunter. I mean, I've killed deer and I can skin a buck, but I don't do it often.
Run a trap line?
I can sing country songs and I know choruses, and I have a 30-06, and that's the preferred rifle that I use. Although it does have quite a bit of a curve, you can take down just about anything. I actually used to hunt deer with an SKS rifle. We'd put Legos in the clip and make it all legal-like with only 5 shells and 2 game.
You're limited on the amount of ammo.
If you're hunting deer with an AK-47 or something like that, yeah, you are.
We might have that on the books here too. I don't even know. I mean,
you can't go out there with full clip chasing down whitetail. It's not probably going to.
Yeah, well, 30-06. Your rifle is
ridiculous.
It's a fantastic rifle. It's a fantastic caliber, and it is a gun that will bring down any animal on this planet.
But you're not gonna sneak up on anybody with that thing. I mean, that's why people go down to smaller calibers. I'm trying to think, it's a 203. It's a female deer rifle. Those are nicer because this thing's like a freaking cannon. I mean, it's a bolt. And it costs you about $1.25 to shoot that thing nowadays, each bullet. So,
I used to do a lot of elk hunting, and elk are big animals. Obviously, you can get a bull elk. It could weigh upwards.
How does elk taste? I've never eaten elk.
Delicious.
Really?
It is superior to deer.
What about buffalo? Is it better than buffalo or beefalo?
I think it's better than buffalo.
I'm a beefalo fan. I like that now. It's like this hybrid. I feel like I'm eating ligers.
Ew. No, don't eat a liger.
No, but it's beefalo. It's buffalo beef.
Yeah, no, I've had it. We have buffalo here. We have buffalo hunts here. I've had buffalo and beefalo and elk, and my favorite, without a doubt, is elk. Elk is delicious, and even people that don't like venison, if they tried elk, they would probably like it. I mean, it is just really, really good meat, and it's extremely good for you. But they're big animals, and I used to hunt with a 30-06. I've shot several elk with a 30-06. They're great. It's a great rifle. I was shooting a 300 Winchester Magnum. For a number of years elk hunting. I mean, it's a lot of gun though. And a 308, which I bought for me and my son, a 308 is they're all 30 calibers, right? So they're all that same caliber. It's just the pep behind them.
308's a nice mid-range gun.
308 held the record for the longest kill of a human being by a sniper for a long, long time. And now I think a 50 cal surpassed it. But a 308's it's a really good shooting caliber, really flat trajectory, and you can reach somebody a long way away.
New York investment banker found dead on sidewalk outside East Side apartment building. Another one bites the dust. Charlie McGrath. And did you hear? John Corzine's son killed himself.
Yeah, I did. The Corzine son thing. What are your thoughts? I mean, is that?
I look at it two ways. Number one, he may have been killed by somebody who had been wronged by John Corzine and maybe offed, but I would think that there'd be more of more media around that if that was maybe the case. Or it might just really, suck to be John Corzine's son. I don't know. Or maybe he just had drug problems. I don't really follow into the story too much, but one of the takeaways is that, and it's true that money doesn't make you happy. It's not just a ditty. And you see that with these people that are so rich they have everything. Like this DuPont heir. You hear about this guy?
Yeah.
He was molesting children. They've let him out of jail, and he's pretty much getting away with.
Have you ever thought about that? I mean, the money doesn't buy happiness thing. Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought what it would be like to not have to work for a living, right? To not have to go do something that you didn't necessarily want to do every single day, and be, and embrace the grind, as it were. Just if everything was done for you and everything was...
That's when you get into some sick, weird stuff, man, because you got a lot of time to skin chinchillas alive, and that's how you get all these crazy elite serial killer type people. I mean, This guy's case in point. I mean, he's never had to work a day in his life, and what's he into? Oh, surprise! Chasing children around. Yeah. That's the ultimate taboo.
Well, I think that you would either be into things that you shouldn't be into, or
eyes wide shut stuff. Weird orgies, creepy stuff. Get into a drug habit that you can see. That's the thing. I mean, it's like the owner of the Jim Irsay, he owns the Colts, and he has this very public drug problem and alcohol problem. Well, I mean, why would you quit? I mean, you have all the money in the world. You're a billionaire. You can continue to do whatever you want to do. And if you want to get off it, you can just hop on a yacht and take off. But I think that, to your point, the not having some kind of goal. Okay, back to the neocon Straussian Trotskyite mission here is that you have to have a goal in life, and if you have no reason to get up in the morning, then your
idle hands will be filled with something.
I was going to say the old paraphrase. The idle hands is the devil's play toy.
Yeah, but you can't say that because you're a heathen, but I can.
Well, I didn't know that there were such rules. See, as a heathen, I don't have to abide by those.
You don't have to, and apparently not. You just trample all over my rules. To hell with you and your rules, McGrath.
I don't have to do it. Oh, this is the 33rd episode. I thought you'd appreciate this. I went to Wikipedia. Yeah. 33.
Wait. Before you get into that, I want to thank, but I'll forget. I want to thank Ironically Vague because he put that comment in there. 10th banker suicide report of 47-year-old trader jump in front of a train. And you did, of course, doing your duty as you always do. You answered and said Corzine's kid, too. So thank you, Ironically Vague, for putting that comment in there, and Craig Simpson as well for your comments. Go ahead, Doug.
Oh, see, You're valued here. Your comments are welcomed and valued.
And read.
And read, absolutely. Yeah. So, interestingly enough, 33 has its own mathematical sum. It's actually the smallest sum of two positive numbers. 33 is the largest positive integer that cannot be expressed as a sum of different triangular numbers. So the numbers there, obviously, it's a third. 1/3 is 33% infinitely. But in religion, here's some of the ones you'll like. The Elohim appears 33 times in the story of the creation of the opening chapters of Genesis. Lag Baomer is a minor Jewish holiday which falls on the 33rd day of the Omer. Oh, by the way, it's the isn't it the equinox? The lunar? It's not lunar. It's the it's escaping me. It's vernal equinox today. So happy vernal equinox.
Vernal equinox. Interesting.
Yeah, Jesus performed 33 recorded miracles. He was 33 years old when he died. I think you mentioned that. Islamic prayer beads are generally arranged in sets of 33, corresponding to the wide use of the number in rituals. So it has that. It's, of course, the highest degree in Scottish Rite Freemasonry, and it is the numerical representation of the Star of David, but also the numerical equivalent of Amen, which is 1 plus 13 plus 5 plus 14 equals 33. So if you look
outstanding.
at
The only correction is Jesus didn't die when he was 30. He was crucified when he was 33. I just want you to know that.
well, he died and then he came back. He died for your sins, right? Or is that just a bad paraphrase too?
No, I'll accept that answer.
Yeah, because you have to die to be re-risen. Because if you don't die, then you can't be risen.
That's a good point. You got to die to be.
You were just in a coma.
You were just knocked out.
And maybe that's what happened. Maybe he just got drunk off of his own wine. You know, he could make wine, and got drunk and hung out in the tomb there. And they just thought he was out. They're like, Jesus is dead. I'm like, not quite.
I'm not touching any of that with a 10-foot pole, Doug Owen.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is theocracy. We could turn this into the theocracy hour. Think about that. If we build this show as a God hour and like started our own little parish, and talked about these things, people would be
Doomathism instead of instead of some other
Catholicism,
Catholicism or Doomathism.
Oh yeah, and Walt Disney has Club 33. Are you aware of Club 33?
No, what's that?
Here you go. Check this out.
You're so smart.
This is the elusive Club 33, the most exclusive club in the world, and it's right here at Disneyland Park. Something that is a joy. And so if you're here on New Orleans Square, the reason why it's called this is because we're at 33 Royal Street.
33 Royal Street
33.
at Disneyland.
Now, if you look, this is the parlor for the club, and then there's a set of stairs that go up here. Right here above us is a bridge that goes over to the main dining room. On the main side, there's a dining room here. Up here on the left is
what's with the creepy music
called the trophy room.
It's Disney. The trophy room is where you can enjoy the view, and I'm like, why do you have a trophy room? Are you talking about trophy children? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of creepy stuff going on. Like kindergarten is the child garden where you make the child grow in this garden. It's like
ew.
Yeah, Club 33.
It reminds me of the murals in the Denver airport. Creepy.
Yeah. Well, and we all know that Walt Disney himself was a Freemason, a 33rd degree Mason, and so that's probably why. And most people believe that is God, the G, or maybe Gnosis, the Gnostic teachings, and of course Kabbalistic rituals got merged into Masonry. Go down that whole hole, but when we see it, it's because it's commonly occurring. It's also what they consider to be a very magical number because of it being used in triangular equations, and
because of the third aspect, the. Yeah, is there not? I mean, that's the
above,
number 30.
Low, sine, cosine, tangent.
But isn't there other numbers that are meaningful?
Sure.
7. That number has a lot of meaning throughout history.
666.
Yeah, that number has some meaning of its own. I mean, so are you infatuated with 33, or you have knowledge of it? Is that your deal?
No, I just see it all the time, and you think most of the time when I see that it's bullcrap. That when they're going to murder 33 people, that it's a tell that this is some kind of message, especially if it's scripted. And they come up with all of these numbers, and you see them just being used over and over again. I mean, like I said, put it into Google, and you'll just find this plethora.
I'm afraid to
of things that are related to 33. Well, nobody was watching. All of the Clinton library, conveniently for Miss Clinton's 2016 campaign, has gone missing. And by the way, HSBC, all of those charges have now been dismissed by the Justice Department. Eric Holder has let HSBC off.
Yes, yet if
laundering.
you want to sell supplements during late night television on an infomercial, you're going to get 10 years. But if you're HSBC, right, and you're laundering Mexican drug cartel money, and people are literally dying by your actions, and you're profiting from it, don't worry about it. We'll sweep that under the rug. No big deal.
Exactly. Yeah, well, watch your cornhole, Mr. Trudeau, and we'll have to interview him. Maybe we'll bring him on the DoomCast.
We had the press hole,
Yeah.
right, and then we had the whole hole in the you were just talking about with the Disney there,
Yeah.
and now we have the cornhole.
Oh man, you know what? There's another hole that we could end this show on.
Oh,
But
wait, go
it's pretty horrible, and this is something you were talking about your son possibly going to the military.
No, over my dead body.
Oh, okay, well, you thought that he might be entertaining the idea. Here's some ammo, Dad, or dads and moms out there. Sexual assaults in the military are at an all-time high, and most of them are male on male.
Yeah, what's up with that? Is that all Navy? Because that never happened when I was in the Army, man. Not that I saw.
Well, we did have some sugary yeomen and some village people.
Sugary yeoman. Pulling
The sugary yeomen.
pulling the swing shift. I do have an RT interview tonight. Do you want to hear what this topic's going to be?
I do. I wish I could. I wish it was live. I could watch it. I'm looking forward.
You can watch it live. It'll be on RT, not the RT America. It'll be on RT International. I can send you the link.
Please do, and put it in the DoomCast chat room at doomcast.com for the few people there that want to continue from Doom. I see people commenting in there that are listening to the live show.
Really, we have live listeners right now. I'm nervous now.
No, you're not.
All right, you're right. Dear Mr. McGrath, hello. I hope this email finds you well. This is Katina, producer from RT International, a 24/7 English global news network. We would like to offer you an invitation to an interview with us today. We are speaking about the latest set of sanctions that the U.S. is taking against Russia and against the world economy. President Obama said today that despite the fact that these sanctions are aimed against Russia, he knows that the world economy and businesses will suffer as well and still puts them into place. We would like to discuss how sanctions will work and how Europe might get affected by them as well. That's going to be the topic tonight. Sanctions.
What's happening? Hot stuff?
Yeah.
That's how I think you should come into the show.
Yeah,
Like,
Katina.
Hey.
Yep. Katina lady.
Shh. Just tell her this. Shh. Close those pretty lips. Shh. Just start shushing her. Sir, hello, Charlie McGrath. Shh. Don't speak. Let's just enjoy this.
Don't ruin the moment. I'm waiting for the after.
You gonna do video? You get your sports coat on?
I'm gonna have a sport coat on. I might do it. It's not till 9:00 Mountain. So what time is it now? 7:30.
Yeah, so
That's an hour and a half. And you know what?
okay. That's gonna be 9:10.
Yeah, it'll be nine
It'll be
o'clock.
10 for me, 9 for you, 10 for me, or no?
11 for East Coast, and that topic seems kind of boring to me. So I might change it up a little bit.
That's right. You say, you know what? The U.S. doesn't care about people. They're cruel and unusual.
How's my buddy Edward doing over there? That's what I'll ask.
Yeah. How's Snowden? How's he doing?
How's the snowman? It's like I said in that one little video, they never ask me, or try to lead me in one direction. But this is typically it. They'll send me something.
If
that
that's
says,
not leading, I don't know what is. But it's not atypical of what you would get in some kind of interview, and it's pretty customary. And it's funny because I book people to do the podcast, and when I was doing daily shows, and they're like, so what do you want to talk about? What do they're used to getting a whole, script of questions that they will be asked by me. And I'm like, no. We're just going to talk. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, but that isn't leading. I mean, I'm not going to invite you to come on my program and I'll tell you what we're going to talk about.
No.
I think RT isn't going to send me, hey, we got an interview, but it's going to be a surprise. We're not going to tell you. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. They'll let me know what it is. And on occasion, when I know I'm going to be rushed or pressed for time, and it's a topic that maybe I need to bone up on a little bit, and I'll be like, hey, listen, I have to do my radio program, and then I got to jump right on with you. So please, can you send me a list of the questions you're going to ask ahead of time so I can prep up on them a little bit, and they'll do that as well. So I don't think that's leading. I just think it's
no. I mean, they've got a package they're trying to put together. They're putting you into the package. They have specific questions they want to ask people that have a perspective that is informative and
right. And yeah, and they know, they know from the past experience with them what, generally how I'm going to probably.
You don't have to be an RT apologist. I don't think there's anything wrong with RT at all. And I like the fact that they're out in front about what they want to focus on. It's an American-Russian television corporation. I mean,
all right. As long as you agree with me, that's right.
No, it doesn't matter if I didn't. I mean, it's like going on Press TV. I mean, Press TV is Iranian state television. Do they have a stint? If they asked me, I might go on.
If Fox News would ask me to come on, or CNN,
the reason they don't ask me is because my politics are too controversial, Charlie McGrath, and if I had the chance, then I would set them straight. That's why they fear me. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they would be legitimate if they invited Doug Owen.
That's right. They're not legitimate because they won't have me on.
No, I don't care who the outlet is. If they invited me on and didn't, say you have to say this or you have to keep it within that parameter, then why wouldn't I go on? Of course, I would go on and speak my point of view. And that's one thing that
if Jay Carney in the NSA lets you, see, that's the deal. Yeah. The CIA lets you talk to them. They might shut you down tonight.
They might, but I got a new Remington 873-308. Just saying. No, it ain't 873. It's a 783. I don't even know the only gun I have.
They're going to come and hit you with that compression weepen. Just knock you out and bring the black van around, tase you.
Yeah, next thing you'll see me on YouTube all zombified. They're doing the right thing.
Yeah, Charlie McGrath was on the internet looking for possible ways that he could wage jihad with Al-Qaeda in Syria. And then they'll bring you out and you'll just be like catatonic and your eyes are rolling around your head, obviously drugged up. Like Jose Padilla, maybe they'll have some kind of sensory blinder on you. Oh, we'll see you on TV drooling, and we'll be like, I knew what happened, Charlie McGrath. I'll avenge you.
Oh, you come just set me free if you see that.
I will avenge you, my friend. I don't know if I'll be able to set you free, but I will martyr you and sell T-shirts on the internet with your face on them and make...
Oh, like a Che T-shirt. It'll be Charlie.
Charlie McGrath, born to 2014, R.I.P. We'll have a picnic for you. A meetup. We'll have a meetup.
I could be the battle cry of the revolution. I could be the Alamo.
Yeah, you could be. You could definitely be that.
Oh, brother.
So you ready to get out of here? You got to get going?
You know what? I canceled. I know I was rushing you to get do this hour, make sure we're in this window, but I felt like it was too much pressure on the DoomCast. So I went ahead and the thing I had scheduled for right after this, I went ahead and canceled. So I don't have anything between now and the 9 o'clock my time.
What did you have before RT?
What's that?
What did you have before RT that you were pushing for?
I was gonna talk to another host that's joining Wide Awake News Radio and try to get that worked out. And it's not a secret. I mean,
a little business dinner, a little business lunch,
a little hobnobbery. No, it's Gabe Elton of Austin Rare Coins, who's supported. They've been a sponsor of my website since it started, and he's been a great asset to the program. Not only does he help me pay for the stuff we need, but he comes on and talks about precious metals all the time, and he's really knowledgeable and connected, especially to a lot of the big time hedge fund guys who are getting into precious metals and putting that in their portfolio. But his contacts have always made me think he'd be great as a host. At least once or twice a month to come on and talk precious metals and where things are going. So Gabe is going to join Wide Awake News Radio as I think 2 times a month. He's going to do his program on there. So I'm excited about that.
That's cool. Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, saying gold and being able to purchase it, and he's here in Austin, Texas, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's in your area.
I should just go down there in person and demand free gold for plugging his stuff. I'll be like, look,
I know Charlie McGrath, and he says, give me an ounce.
I need an ounce on the house, and I'll get everybody Starbucks. I'll do something really nice for the people there at Austin Record.
I'll mention him on the next DoomCast. And you know what, though? I keep getting asked that, Doug. Well, there's a couple things. By the way, you got to go. You got baby Doomer crying in the background there?
I do. That's why I've got a compressor gate on. You can't hear him. He's all...
Are you on dad duty right now?
No. That would be really hard. This would be a really bad podcast.
Yeah, it'd be distracting.
A little bit.
But are we? We're not. We're going to keep this in commercial free, right? That's our plan, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is the way I think that if people that are commercial sponsors want to support the show, and the only way that we can keep it completely independent is that they give us a token. They give us a donation, and we mention their donation. We give them credit for supporting what we're doing. So it's more of them supporting us rather than us shopping our audience to somebody that sells a product. And I think, and then it serves both purposes. You give us $50, we'll mention it. We'll talk about it. Hey, thanks for the, appreciate you supporting independent.
Are you talking
media.
about individuals now, or are you talking about a company? If somebody has a
Either.
widget,
Both.
Okay.
I mean, entrepreneurs, they if you make a monetary donation.
Listen, I did that. I actually, I don't even know if I informed you about that or not, but on Wide Awake News on my website, I don't know when's the last time you were over there.
Yeah, we did this whole bit. We talked about it for like 10 minutes about the new media models and what you were doing over there with all the people bringing the stuff up there.
I'm sorry, I've completely forgot.
You're drinking a lot of Guinness, aren't you, sir?
The Guinness flows.
Yeah, we talked about this, and I've said that over and over again.
It's going great. I'm charging these guys, and they're people in our community, right? I'm charging them $15 a month to have their banner up there, and then get them onto the program to tell the people why they need their product or service. It certainly isn't for the money, because $15 a month is nothing to put it up on my website. I mean, it's nothing as far as charging a fee. But the whole entire reason I did it is because these folks are, they started in a lot of cases in their garage doing these things. They're in our community. They're trying to make a living. And they can't afford $1,000 a month banner or ad package on the website or radio or whatever. So it's been an absolute blast. And I will say right now, Doug, and anybody listening, every penny that comes in for this, I'm giving to the hosts, not myself, but to the hosts of Wide Awake News Radio, because in a lot of cases they're scraping together pennies just to keep their internet on. So it's worked out great for them. It's working out great for the advertisers. And I feel like, I don't just have Google ads up on the right side of my website. I have something up there that I'm happy to be there, and I'm happy that it's able to help folks out.
No, I like it. I think that's great. And if it works, I just don't think that my deal, and this might sound really bad, but I think that we and what we put into these shows and what we could put into them are worth a lot more than $15. And I think just having to deal with putting banners up and down. I mean, I think that even a mention on the show should have to meet a minimum value.
Yeah, and it's fine if it's somebody who's if it's Gerber knife, right? And
Well, I mean that's for anybody. I mean that way anybody that wants to be plugged on the show can be plugged on the show. We don't have to do a commercial. We don't have to do an endorsement. I don't have to look at your product. I don't have to worry about all of those things that I'm supporting something or that you're giving them the great spot price that I'm telling my listeners about, or the doomers about. I just don't want to deal with all of that unless because that's another job. That's another thing that to deal with a bunch of sponsors and trying to make everybody, or you have to deal with mitigate or delegate or something to that effect. And it's just
sure. And if something goes wrong, you endorsed it.
I just want to focus on what we do, and if people value it, then they will contribute, or they will help us to proselytize the DoomCast to other people.
What I would love? I would love some rich individual, super rich. That you
want a sugar daddy, don't you?
Well, it could be a mama, it could be a sugar mama. It don't have to be a daddy. Yeah. But that wants to take the DoomCast, the Owen-McGrath DoomCast, and make that completely untouchable. And by doing so, I mean just financing the whole thing.
George Soros, somebody to fund our Democracy Now! Has George Soros. We could find our sugar mama to float.
We need our sugar mama just to fund this thing, and then make it so this is what you and I do.
Well, that would be better than having to sling water filters or selling Bitcoin exchanges or other things that I see all. I really
feel like I'm not. I mean, I have ads up there, right, and the Google ads are up there, and. But I don't feel like I'm selling anything because I don't know. I mean,
they have to at some point sell something, otherwise they're not going to give you any money. So, I mean, I like that. I like that. That it's amongst people that, in the community. And I don't think there's anything wrong with helping other entrepreneurs or up and coming entrepreneurs. I don't think what you're doing is bad. I just think that it would be easier, cheaper, and better if somebody wanted to advertise on this podcast, to just make a donation or to do something really cool that we would mention on the show that would make it fun. Make it something that's valuable rather than trying to tell somebody that we're giving them personal endorsement. Here's the deal then. All right, because why would you buy something just because I say that, this is the best water filter? Well, Doug Owen, have you actually tested the water filter? Well, have you actually assayed those coins? I
don't know. I thought your opinion. If you said,
But to give you that honest opinion, I have to do that testing myself.
I don't think you would give me an unhonest opinion. I don't think you would give me a paid for opinion.
Wouldn't get. Yeah, I don't give unhonest opinions, and that's why it'd be really hard to do that, because if I thought that,
I think if you didn't know about it, you'd say, hey, I'm getting paid $100 to talk about this, so here's this. Go check it out. And
that would be fair. That would be above, but that would probably be pretty limited as far as how effective. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about this thing.
I don't know about this thing. And
they're giving me money.
This guy, he was a Russian. He might be sanctioned next week.
All right, well, here's the deal. This is the deal that I'll put out there. If somebody has a product, this is DoomCast. No, this isn't Wide Awake News or Blacklisted News. This is DoomCast. If you have something that you want us to talk about, then approach Doug at doug@blacklistednews.com or me at info@wideawakenews.com.
Or just feed us a comment. Comment on the YouTube page. I mean, there's a lot. See, that's the thing, is that people get too, caught up in this one certain type of way to do it. I mean, comment on the, start up a YouTube channel. Comment on the YouTube videos. You can start and you're going to be talking to people that actually listen to the show, that are not just, casual listeners that,
Oh my God, I have an idea.
Yeah.
If somebody donates this week, Doug, we should have them donate, $33. It's a 33 episode.
And they can get into Club 33. We'll have an altruistic, nice, clean Club 33 where they can hang out and not worry about the police state scrutinizing what they're doing.
That's exactly right.
Maybe smoking a Cuban cigar.
That's exactly
the
right.
FTC might not be happy about that, but it's safe at Club 33.
33 is where you want to be. He.
Yeah, I like that. I think that if they want to be part of it and they want to get mentioned, and that's something that's really, really reasonable for anyone. And that's why I think that this is better, because you're not turning down anybody. Anybody can participate. We're going to give proper credit for the support that we receive by that person. You out there that don't necessarily want to support us may want to support one of those people, because by virtue of that, you're supporting this show. And so it's really advertising, but it's not advertising, and we're not having to sell it. We're not having to vet it. We're not having to do any of those other things. And that's what's great, because we're not selling the audience. And that's what most advertising is. You're selling the audience to the advertiser. Hey, I've got these people that listen, and they consider me to be authoritative. And if I tell them to buy your stuff, and even if it's great, don't get me wrong. I mean, even if it's great, you're now that businessman for these people, and you're the middleman between your audience and this.
I totally get that, and that's why. I mean, really, that is why.
We're not getting rich, and so to do that in a proper form or proper fashion to make it independent would be we have to be independently wealthy or something.
Right, and I've told you before, and I've told the audience before that. When asked, why isn't there more advertising on the site, I've really been turned off by a lot of the stuff that's been pushed my way for one reason or another. Either the person trying to get me involved with it didn't feel comfortable with, or I thought they were just looking to take advantage of the sentiment that is in this community. So obviously if this was my full-time job, I would have to have a different perspective on advertising, because I would need it in order, to feed myself. But that isn't the case where I'm at right now. If it ever got to that point, then I would hope that I would team up with some really outrageously good sponsors that would have a good product and provide something of use to the audience. But you're right. When you climb into bed with these guys, it does change everything. It changes how you have to present yourself, how you have to present their product, and you really start. It's like a job. You're working for them, and you got to keep those guys happy. And when that becomes a top priority, then, everything else would suffer. And you and I both work. We can't afford to have everything else, to have our websites and this program and the other things we do suffer because, we have a full-time job providing for our families. So, it is best that we keep this, from the heart, as it were. I hope that doesn't sound sappy, but that's what this is. That's what my website is. I know that's what yours is too. Yeah, they make a little bit of money, but certainly not enough that we're going to, be able to.
It's no compromise journalism. We don't have to compromise ourselves. We don't have to worry about offending. Not that sponsors ever really tell you. I've never had any sponsor ever say, look, you can't say anything about this or give me a list of things to do or not do. But it's implied that you're not going to bash the product. It's implied that you're not going to step on maybe their personal feelings.
Oh,
and you're worried about.
I have. I've had
Oh,
one that I cut loose that because they didn't like who I liked or they didn't like who I was associated with. And, they had that individual as a sponsor through me, and they fired him for something that they said.
I'm really sorry for getting you losing that account for you.
Doug, you're more important than the $10,000 a month I was making from that guy.
You know what it was? It's a freaking conspiracy. The government was trying to come after me, break us apart. Don't let it happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I might make fun of you on the air and that kind of thing, but I got your back, Owen.
Aww.
Let's wrap this up. This has to be a 2-hour DoomCast. I mean, I'm an hour 3 into it, and I lost connection. What, 40 minutes into it? How much
I'll
time?
figure out. No, it wasn't that bad. We've lost a minute there. I'm going to look through it, and if it's worth chopping out, I might.
I was delaying and keep checking.
I was rambling there, and then I was like, look, I haven't heard Charlie McGrath try to step on me, chime in, because if we're having a good conversation, you're like, hey, I've got something, and I'm like, I haven't heard him in like at least 20 seconds say anything or breathe.
That's really weird. That's really weird for me not to talk for 20 seconds. But I'm monitoring my inbox. I was hoping during this podcast these questions from Katina would come rolling in so I could do the same thing I did last time, which is give the audience the questions that came in before I did the interview. But I haven't got any questions yet, so I don't know. Maybe I won't get any. I'll just have to wing it.
Well, next week we'll have to play the Truth Seekers package.
Oh my God!
See how it gets cut up. I want to see how it gets cut.
I have to plug DoomCast. That's my mission. I have to plug DoomCast in this interview somehow.
Oh yeah, see if you can work it in somehow or another nonchalantly. That's going to be great.
I'm going to do it.
Okay, well, you know what? Text or hit me up on Skype when you're about to go on the show, and that way I can start recording the audio, so we'll have it just in case.
Beautiful. Can you record the video too? Can you?
I don't have a video recording. No, I don't have anything.
I'll hit up my buddy Gary Hendershot, who's got all the equipment in the world, and I'll ask him to record the interview.
I'll get the audio for the Doomers out there.
Beauty, and I will plug DoomCast, and I'm going to try to plug DoomCast and the DoomCast audience in this
This is almost like Super Troopers, where they try to say meow 10 times. Meow, what you doing over there, boy? Meow, meow.
How am I going to get DoomCast into an interview about sanctions?
So what you're going to do is say, these sanctions are pretty doomcast.com.
No. It's going to be a literal plug for the podcast and the audience.
Well, I've been talking about that in my own podcast, doomcast.com, and let me tell you, we hate America over there, and that's why all of the Russian TV listeners and viewers
That's a challenge. I want everybody to go to the RT channel. There's 2 channels on YouTube. One of them's RT America, the other one's RT. Go to the RT channel. It'll probably be tomorrow before it's posted up there, but there will be an interview with me, and that's my challenge. Is to plug DoomCast and the DoomCast audience. That has to happen.
Nice. All right, man. Well, I guess we're going to wrap up DoomCast number 33. We talked about the media. We broke open Liz Wall's conspiracy with the neocons, and we talked about the rich faux alt media and people that are making hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's right. We talked about Walt Disney and the creepy 33.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Jesus and how he was crucified at 33 years old.
We come to the consensus that he did die and was resurrected. So
you can't die. You can't be resurrected from the dead unless you're dead. I have to concede that point. Ding, ding. My name is Charlie McGrath. My website's wideawakenews.com. My co-founder is Doug Owen, blacklistednews.com. You can follow us at The Doomcast Show on Twitter. You can also check out previous episodes at doomcast.com as well. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week with DoomCast number 34.
Take care, everybody.
Peace out, y'all.
It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
What's happening? Hot stuff.
Durga, Muhammad Jihad. Sherpa, Bakala. Oh, Durga.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Owen, I'm going to go. I got an hour and 10 before this article or this interview, and I have got to think about how I'm going to plug this. But I'm going to do it, man. I'm getting it in there.
It sure is doomy.com. Wait, doomcast.com. Sorry, bad plug. All right, dude. Bye.
Talk to you later, buddy. Bye.